parent meeting about Read, Write, Ink. This session will last about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's designed as an introduction to the Read, Write, Ink phonics programme as we've started it in our school. So throughout the year, we'll hold additional sessions so that you can get a little bit more information about some of the techniques and things that we use. But hopefully by the end of the meeting today, you'll understand how the programme works and how you can help your child develop their reading skills at home. Okay, so reading changes everything. Reading is a vital skill that shapes a child's future, and research shows that children who learn to read early are more likely to succeed in school and beyond. And as Jeanette Winterson said, teach a child to read and keep that child reading, and we will change everything, and I mean everything. And at our school, we really believe this. And one of the ways that we teach children to read is now by using Read, Write, Ink, because it helps us to achieve this goal by providing a structured, effective and fun way for the children to learn to read. So, who is Read, Write, Ink for? Read, Write, Ink is mainly aimed at children from reception through to part way through year 2 who are learning to read. But it's also appropriate for children in Key Stage 2 who haven't quite grasped those age-related reading expectations yet. And our goal is for everyone to leave the school as a confident reader. So we are really confident that as the programme runs and over time there'll be fewer and fewer children in Key Stage 2 who need that support. So Read, Write, Ink daily lessons. Through Read, Write, Ink, Read, Write, Ink is about taking a systematic approach to teaching children to read. And we follow 3 key steps. So we teach the sounds to children so that they can learn to recognize the letter sounds and the special friends. And we use the sound cards to do that. We practice reading and spelling so that children can apply their knowledge by reading and writing words containing those sounds. And we read decodable books, and children read books matched to the sounds that they've been learning so that they can experience success and build upon their confidence. Each of the books is read multiple times, 3 times in school and then again at home to develop the fluency and comprehension. And alongside this, we read books to the children that they cannot yet read independently to continue to develop their love of reading. So how does it work? So just like learning a new skill, such as swimming or playing an instrument, children learn to read through regular practice. And the children are grouped according to their reading level and work in progress groups for 30 minutes each day. And the reception children build this up gradually through the year so they can do a little bit longer. The children are taught to the correct challenge level for them, so they're being taught the sounds that they need to know in the order that they need to know them. And every half term we reassess the children to track the progress they're making, and we move them on to the next stage when it's appropriate and when they're ready. And this ensures that they're always learning at the correct challenge level and making the fastest progress possible. And to support those children where the progress might be a little bit slower, we put in one-to-one tutoring sessions because it's really about keeping up, not catching up. And our goal is to make sure that every child learns to read. So some children might need a bit of extra support, and we do that through the one-to-one or small group tutoring for 10 minutes each day alongside, and that's in addition to the group that they will have in the morning. And as I said, this helps the children to keep up rather than to be in a position where they're needing to catch up with their peers, and hopefully preventing reading difficulties from developing later on. So what is phonics? So phonics teaches children to read by linking the sounds, they're also called the phonemes, to letters, which is the graphemes. So children learn, for example, to read the word mat, and we teach them that mat is made up of 3 sounds, a, and t. Similarly, ship is also made up of 3 sounds, even though there are 4 letters. So the S and the H come together to make the sound sh, and then there's also I and P. So children learn to blend the sounds together so that they can read the words and segment the words into sounds so that they can help to learn the spellings. And the national curriculum tells us that children need to be taught phonics in a systematic way, because this gives them the tools to decode unfamiliar words, including more complex ones like whimper. So, the English alphabetic code, there are 44 sounds in English, but we only have 26 letters to present them. That means we need over 150 graphemes, or that's, in other words, letter combinations, to write all of those sounds. So, for example, the sound A can be spelled the sound A can be spelled in different ways. It could be the letters AI coming together like in rain, or AY coming together like in day, or the A split E sound like in cake. So this complexity is what makes phonics so important, because it gives children a structured way to make sense of the spelling system, and it gives children the code to unlock their reading potential. But having such a varied way of making the sounds makes it one of the most complex alphabetic codes in the world. So we teach the children to read using speed sounds, and they start with set 1 sounds. So the set 1 sounds include the basic letter sounds and the short vowel sounds, and you can see the mat, and this mat is displayed in the classrooms to help the children. So you can see there's the basic letter ones such as n, s, and then there's some special friends like sh, and we teach the children about the bouncy sounds and the stretchy sounds. So the stretchy sounds are letters like M, where we make the sound, but the bouncy sounds are the ones that make a shorter sound, like the H. And then the set 2 sounds introduce more complex sounds, including the long vowel sounds like A in play. And by mastering all of these sounds, the children can start blending the words to blending the sounds, blending the letters to read more fluently. Now I'm going to show you a quick video now of a child pronouncing the pure sounds. Now, when we talk about the pure sounds, what we are talking about is children making the correct sounds to help them to be able to sound out particular words. So, for example, instead of asking the children to make a m or a s sound, we talk about and s. And this makes blending easier when learning to read. So instead of saying k, a, t for cat, the children learn to blend the k, a, t, at, cat. Makes it easier for them to blend the sound. So I'm just going to play you a clip now of those sounds being read.
These are the set one sounds. These are the stretchy sounds. Oh, mm, mm, These are the bouncy sounds. B, k, k, st, g, h, j, p, qu, ch, w, x, y, ch, a, e, o, a. These are the set two sounds. These are the long vowels. A, E, I, O, U, R, O, ow, oi. These are the last set these sounds to learn. Aya, ear, yaw.
Okay, so that video, we'll share the link of it with you with a follow-up email where we'll also be sharing the slides and things so that you can go back to that if you would like to. Okay, so then we go on to the speed sounds for set 3, and this introduces alternative spellings for the same sounds. So for example, if the children learn A first, the AY, then the A split E. See that down in the vowel sounds section. And they learn those as different ways to spell the same sound. So by mastering these patterns, the children can read and spell more complex words with confidence. And we teach them all about trying to identify the correct sound as well. So sounds and blending sounds equals word reading. So children use Fred talk to sound out words. So for example, the word sat, Fred only talks in sounds and the children need to help him. So we might have s-at. Fred would be saying s-at. And then the children need to help him by blending those sounds together. And once they can do this fluently, then they're learning to decode unfamiliar words, and then they're becoming more independent readers. And as I said, Fred is our phonics. Put my teeth back in. Fred is our phonics frog. He only speaks in sounds and the children have to help him. And we find that this method helps children to develop blending skills quickly, naturally, and in a fun way. And to help with spelling, we use our Fred fingers. So we might ask children to, if we tell the children a word, say, for example, we said the word dog, we'd ask them to count and pinch on their fingers the different sounds. And then for dog, they'd have d, o, g. So that would be 3 sounds. They'd hold up 3 fingers and then they would write down each word. And this strategy helps children to spell words independently, but it's a great assessment opportunity for the children. Great assessment opportunity for teachers and the group leaders so that they can see how much the children are understanding and how they're able to apply their phonics knowledge. We use story books. Children use the Read Write Ink storybooks, and as I said earlier, they're matched to the sounds that the children know and the children are learning. So they read each book 3 times to build up fluency in school, to build up the fluency, speed and comprehension. And this makes the reading feel a little bit more effortless for the children because they keep coming back to the same text and applying the sounds in the same way. And your child will bring home a paper copy of this book each week, and that's their opportunity to show you everything that they've been learning in school, and an opportunity to show off their fantastic reading skills. And then we have touched upon special friends and Fred Talk. So special friends are where 2 or 3 letters make one sound when they're together. So as the example I gave earlier, sh is made up of 2 it's made up of 2 letters, S and H. And that's just a simple way to teach the children about those digraphs and trigraphs, calling them special friends because the 2 letters make a single sound. And Fred Talk, this is when the children say the sounds in words separately before blending them. As I spoke about Fred, our phonics frog earlier, he can only speak in Fred Talk. So when the children are sounding out a word, we encourage them to use Fred Talk. So if when you're at home, your child hesitates when reading a word, encourage them to look for any special friends within a word first, and then encourage them to use the Fred Talk to sound it out. And as they use the Fred Talk, encourage them to say the sounds more quickly to help them then to blend it together so that they can say the full word. And this method builds fluency and helps the children to become confident, independent readers. Now, there are some words that we call red words. Red words don't follow our regular phonics rules or phonetic rules, and we call them red words because we can't Fred talk them. So for example, the word said, the letters AI make an S sound, which is unusual for those 2 letters together. So red words are highlighted in red in the early storybooks to help children recognise them. And when reading at home, encourage your child to think about whether they know the red words, because we do lots of teaching of red words and speedy reading of red words. So if they know it, then great, they just read it out instead of trying to sound it out. And if they're not sure, simply tell them the word so that they can remember it for next time. So let's think about which books the children will bring home. So there'll be 2 Read Write Ink books that your child brings home. The first one is the paper copy of the storybook. That's the book that they've been learning in class. This is an opportunity for them to practice reading with fluency and confidence, and with sharing all of those skills that they've learned at home. We also have the book bag books, and this is a picture book for shared reading. This is a library book, so it might come from the class library corner, it might come from the school library. But this is a book that's taken their interest, and it isn't necessarily a book that they're able to read independently. It's about enjoying reading together. So if, for example, your child's bringing home the book that they've been practicing in class each day, don't say things to them like, oh, I think this book is too easy for you. Encourage them by saying things like, oh, I love how well you read this book, or you're reading the book so fluently, you're doing your speedy reading from school. That will help to encourage the children to keep practicing on those books that they've read before. And we would say to people to be aiming to read every day where you possibly can, because the more practice the children have, the sooner they'll become fluent, confident readers that understand what they are reading. So let's recap on some of the things that you can do to help at home. So the first one is to use pure sounds rather than letter names. And as I said, if you're a bit unsure, we'll share that video of the little girl reading the pure sounds to help you. Because I know many of you won't have learned to read using phonics yourselves. Use Fred Talk to help read and spell words at home. Listen to your child read their storybook every day where you possibly can, and read stories to your child. So that might be bedtime stories, might be stories that they're bringing home from the library, but just read often. Reading is the number one thing that you can do to help your child with their learning. And Read Write Inc. Provide through the Ruth Miskin training website, they provide videos for parents and resources that you can use at home to help you to understand how to help your child to read. And we'll also be sharing a link to that website in the email following this session that will have the slides, different links to share with you so that you can go and look at those resources a bit further. There's a few more useful websites that you can go to. But any questions? We'll be running regular parent sessions to help you to support your children's reading at home throughout the year, and we'll be doing that going on. But are there any questions at the moment that anyone would like to type into the chat?
Yeah, there's one in there, Mr. Pierre.
I can't see the chat at the moment. Could you read it to me?
Yeah, of course. So there's 3 points on this one. So number one is saying we weren't informed what group our child was in and why. Will there be any movement between groups, and we will be informed of this?
So you'll know what group your child is in by the colour of the books that they're bringing home. So every child in your child's group will be reading the same colour book. So that's how you'll know which group the children are in. And was there another part to that? Sorry.
And we will be informed if there is movement between groups.
Yes, so at the end of every half term, we'll assess the children, and you'll know if your child's moved up a group because the colour of the book that they're reading will change. But if you do have any questions about that, do feel free to speak to the class teacher. If you're feeling like, for whatever reason, that maybe the book isn't quite right, if either it's a bit too easy or a bit too challenging, again, speak to the class teacher and we can have a look at reassessing your children. They don't necessarily have to wait until the end of a half term to be assessed. So yes, so do let us know if you're feeling like the book's not quite right for your child.
Okay, and then the second one was that the orange reading record books have been sent out, but so far there have been no teacher comments in this. Is this for two-way communication or just for parents to fill in? Is anyone checking this?
Yes, so really the main point is for that to be a record of the reading that's happening at home. Because the children are reading in regular groups, and they're in smaller groups than their whole class sizes. The teachers and the people leading the groups are looking at what the children do and listening to them read sort of most of the sessions. So we won't be writing that into the homeschool books every day. But what we will add into those books is any extra opportunities where an adult is listening to them read. So, for example, if we have reading volunteers or any of the adults in school are listening to the children read one-to-one in addition to any of their phonics sessions, then that's when we'll put notes in there.
Okay, and then last bit, are there separate groups for writing, or is this all done in year groups?
So the phonics groups, the children go and learn the sounds that they need. Writing happens within their normal class. So within the phonics sessions, there are opportunities to practice applying writing words and sentences, but it's not the kind of creative writing that we will be encouraging the children to do in their whole class writing sessions that will be led by their class teacher.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they said thank you for all the answers, very useful.
Okay, great. Well, if there are any further questions, thank you so much for coming along. We've got quite good attendance compared to some of the sessions that we run in person, so I think we'll definitely be moving forward offering an online opportunity if people find that useful. So thank you for coming. If you think of anything else afterwards, feel free to get in touch and we'll be happy to answer. But thank you very much, everyone. Okay then, so welcome everyone, good evening. Thank you for coming along to our